a great opportunity to show you all how I make one of my favorite dinners. For those of you who know, I have a pretty sensitive stomach, trying to figure out what works best. And I've found that this idea of octopus and farro together with some tomato sauce, like, it sounds really silly or, I don't know, extravagant or random, but it works really well for me. So I'm gonna take you through how I make this dish. It's fairly simple, and I think you'll find that just if you get the right ingredients, which I get mine at Whole Foods, it's a really quick and easy thing to put together yourself. So let's get started. So I'm gonna start with a few cloves of garlic. Nothing too crazy, nothing too intense. It's really just garlic, onions, spinach, octopus, farro, and then a little bit of tomato sauce or your favorite pasta sauce. That's all you need. And I'm gonna go ahead and get started with this garlic by chopping them up. I'm by no means a chef. I learned how to cook as a kid, cooking for my brothers when our parents would be working late nights and I would be kind of alone trying to figure out how to feed the two boys and myself. And so I probably don't know all the best practices. Probably am not the person to go to for like how to cook, you know? But the stuff that I put together, I think it tastes pretty good, and it's fairly easy and simple because that's kind of what I was aiming for when I was growing up. Something quick, easy, tastes good. Obviously, maybe not so obviously, but obviously I was not eating octopus and farro. I actually didn't have farro until I was like maybe 25 years old. Maybe you can relate. Maybe you've never had farro. That's okay. It's an ancient grain. It's supposed to be really good for you. And it's one of my favorites now that I've got a chance to try it. So if you haven't tried it, I encourage you to consider it because I think it's pretty good. Okay, so my garlic is almost chopped up. You can see here that I'm working on a plain old cutting board. I don't have like fancy like chopping skills, but yeah, it's happening. We're getting there. I'm gonna go ahead and put this. You might see Daniel walking around. He's doing his thing, but I'm gonna go ahead and put this. Oh, actually, I forgot to put the oven on, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna grab a pan. Something round like this is perfect. It's really all you need. Nothing fancy. It's a Cuisinart situation from Target, I think, maybe. All right. So got some olive oil in the pan. We have our garlic. I'm not gonna turn on the pan just yet because we don't need to, but right now it's just the garlic going in, and I'm about to saute the octopus and put the octopus in as well. Now, one thing you have to know about farro, because farro is really tricky if you don't get the right kind. So there's one type of farro that has all of its stuff. I don't know. When you get raw farro, just straight up, it's actually really tough to cook. It takes a longer time. I have the kind of farro that is faster to cook. I might have to look it up to see what kind of farro that is because I don't really know. And forgive me, I'm like bending down to get some pots and pans. Let me grab something. Okay, tiny pot, nothing too crazy. Maybe this is too tiny. Let's get another pot. All right, so we're back in business. And I was just filling up this pot with water. You can use water or you can actually use bone broth, which is something I often use. Today I'm just gonna use water. And I'm gonna eyeball it a little bit. I think the actual thing is like 2 parts water to 1 part farro. We're just gonna eyeball this. I'm gonna pray that it's okay. That was a lot, actually. This is how I cut salad. I told you, I warned you. Okay, so we're putting this on the stove, getting it ready to go. Careful here, left out. Okay. So now what I'm doing is I'm chopping up the spinach. We have the farro on the stove. Maybe we should have boiled the water first. I don't know, that's not what I do and it turns out just fine. So we're gonna just live with the way that I do it usually, and hopefully the farro comes out okay. So now I have a bunch of spinach. We have here a tub of spinach, and I'm just pulling it out here and giving it a very, very rough chop. Now, the beautiful thing about spinach is that it really cooks down. So I love adding heaps and heaps of spinach to my meals and watching it just turn into this tiny little mound and praying that it still gives me all the iron and goodness of a giant handful of spinach. We're gonna set that aside. I think it's a really rough chop, perfect for what we need. And now we're gonna do a similar rough chop for the octopus. And as I get started on this, I'm actually going to turn on my garlic, which is here in the stove, ready to be turned on. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the garlic. The farro just started cooking, so it's gonna be a little bit of time before that gets ready to roll and starts boiling. But we've turned that on like a medium-high heat. And now I'm opening up the octopus, which comes in this like water situation. So I'm gonna go ahead and drain out the water. We don't really need the water. Here we go. Oh, I think it's like olive oil actually. It looks a little more oily than water. And so we're gonna go ahead and chop these up even more so. You can get a good look at them hopefully in the camera here. But it's octopus. I love octopus. Oh my goodness. We went to Portugal, and in Portugal they had a bunch of octopus just like on every menu. It was so beautiful to just be able to get like a whole octopus everywhere we went, for lunch, for dinner. I ate so much octopus and I love it so much. So I get this octopus from Whole Foods. Not sure about the brands, but I mean, you know, if you find octopus in a different brand, go for it. I think it's just so convenient and so great that we can get like just a little bit of octopus. It's not very, very much that comes in 1 can, so you might want to go for 2. I find that for me, 1 is just fine. And so I'm going to put this right in here and get that going with the garlic, which is already starting to do its thing. I was thinking about adding some onion, but I decided against it. I think it's fine. Just gonna go with the octopus. It's already quite hot, actually. Yeah. And so now we're gonna add all this spinach that we chopped up. Add all the spinach over. Good stuff, y'all. Oh no! Not sure why we have like maple syrup out. Not sure why this is out, but it's out. We're not touching that right now. We don't need it. But what I am seeing is that I need to start stirring this up and sauteing it. Like I said, not too crazy, right? Like we're going really simple here. This is a very simple dish. So I'm gonna go ahead and saute it up with just a regular spatula. We have the spinach up in there. We have the octopus up in there. It's looking really good. Okay, this is all done and it's very cooked down, which is great. It's exactly what we need. Although part of me is thinking, should I add more spinach? Look how cooked down this is. But all we need now is to add our pasta sauce. So we get our favorite pasta sauce, and this is one of my favorites. It's Cocina Antica. I don't know. I'll show you here. I don't know. You know, it is what it is. I like it. We're gonna go ahead and, oh, this is a trick though that I learned from the Cosby Show, actually. I never really knew how to open cans, and then I think it was Sandra in the Cosby Show who like helped her husband, what was his name? Edwin? Wow. Open a can of something. He was like, oh, men open cans. And she came out of nowhere and just like slapped the thing and it opened. And I was like, I wonder if that works. And it does. It actually works. Okay, so we are cooking this down. This is perfect. All done here. Now the farro is doing its thing. Still cooking on the side here, boiling up. We're gonna let this sit for a little bit. We're gonna let the flavors come into being here. Although one thing I will say is that I'm gonna add a little bit of salt and pepper because you know salt and pepper is always good. So we're gonna go ahead and do that here. Salt. I'm gonna add some pepper. Let's add some lemon pepper because I think it'll taste good with the squid and the flavoring of the pasta sauce. Now we might want to add more pasta sauce, but until we figure this out, until you know we add the farro and see what the proportion is, we'll leave it be for a little while. All right, I think we're about ready to take the farro out and get it into this octopus mixture. So I almost said squid, that's why I'm laughing. Okay. We're gonna take a strainer. We're gonna take this off the farro. Take it off the heat. Now you'll know it's ready when it's a little squishy, and that was kind of what we were waiting for. It's squishy, so it's ready to roll. So we just went ahead and put it through the strainer. There's all this beautiful farro on the other side. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this now, this farro, into the octopus mixture. I'm actually gonna add just a teeny bit of water as well because I wanna make sure that the tomato sauce hasn't dried out. I'm gonna add it here, mixing it all up with the tomato sauce, and it is a little dry. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually add a little more tomato sauce. Okay, so this is what this looks like. It's really pretty, I think. It's like a nice little octopus, spinach, tomato-y mixture. It's got some garlic in there. I'm gonna put this right into our bowl with the avocado. And this is my dinner, y'all. Focus. There it is. So we have our nice avocado and we have our nice mixture with the farro. And trust me, farro, it's just like puffier rice. I don't know. And then of course we have our avocado here, which is like not the prettiest avocado, I'll admit, but good nonetheless. Now maybe? All right, y'all, I hope this was a helpful little tutorial on how I usually cook. And if you're up for seeing more content related to my life outside of my time leading a company and being CEO there, I would love to have you subscribe. So feel free to subscribe below. So thank you so much, and I'll hopefully see you again in the next video. Bye everybody. Good morning, everyone. It's not even morning, it's afternoon. This week is killer. It's been killer. There's so much going on. But I'm wearing a scarf today because it's snowing outside.